Hello, my name is Ben and I would like to know what happened to my shipment of electronic cigarettes from China. I was told I need to speak with you about this issue.
Hi, I am Dorothy, a compliance officer here at the FDA. How can I help you with your issue?
Well, I ordered an electronic cigarette from China, and I just found out that it was confiscated by the FDA. They told me I needed to speak with you to get it back.
Yes, we have been confiscating these devices to protect you, and of course the kids.
Why did you take my electronic cigarette device? Isn't confiscation illegal under the Fourth Amendment?
We are trying to protect you from electronic cigarettes. Don't you know that they are very harmful to you? In a press release we published last year, we explained how these devices are mostly made up of ingredients found in antifreeze, and also have trace elements of cancer-causing tobacco-specific nitrosamines.
Yes, I saw the press release. It said that electronic cigarettes have ingredients that are in antifreeze. From what I understand, that was found in only one cartridge tested out of 20, and in no other tests except yours. The propylene glycol that was found is also used in various FDA-approved drugs, cosmetics, and even eye drops. Does antifreeze contain any water in it as an ingredient?
Yes, I think it does.
Would you say that the water over there that you are drinking is made up of ingredients found in antifreeze?
Well, of course not. But these electronic cigarettes also contain trace elements of cancer-causing tobacco-specific nitrosamines.
Doesn't the FDA-approved cigarettes contain these same elements of tobacco-specific nitrosamines, but in a much more potent form?
Yes, they do. However, cigarettes are legal and are approved by the FDA.
Doesn't the patch and gum, which are also FDA-approved, contain these same trace elements of tobacco-specific nitrosamines in similar amounts?
Yes, that is true. However, electronic cigarettes have not been fully tested by a scientific study over a long period of time, and we don't even know what is in them.
But I thought you said you tested them as part of the press release you just mentioned?
We did. However, again, we don't know what the long-term consequences are of using these devices. There are no scientific tests to prove that they are safe to use.
You know, I have been working on my own scientific health experiment, and I was wondering if you could help me with it.
Sure, I can see what I can do and maybe help you gather some resources for it.
Well, I am looking for scientific evidence that parachutes work for people that jump out of planes. I am not aware of any long-term studies showing that jumping out of a plane with a parachute is actually safer than jumping out of a plane without one, and I need some volunteers to help me. Would you like to jump out of a plane without a parachute to help test my theory about parachute safety? For science, of course.
Of course not. That would be insane.
Then please explain to me that if you know the electronic cigarette is composed of 4 ingredients that are used in other FDA-approved products, why do we need 10 years of studies to approve this device?
Well, you see, what we are really worried about is children getting a hold of these devices and then switching to smoking tobacco cigarettes. We especially don't like the flavors that the electronic cigarette makers use to entice children under 18.
I just saw some grape and cherry-flavored Nicorette gum the other day. Isn't this gum more likely to entice children than an electronic cigarette device that costs more than $50? Also, isn't there more of a chance a child would get real cigarettes from a local store?
Yes, but the gums are FDA approved, and we have eliminated all flavors of tobacco cigarettes, except menthol, of course.
But I am still confused. What gives you the right to take my shipment of electronic cigarettes from China?
Well, you see, we have labeled the electronic cigarette a medical device, and because it has not been through 10 years of scientific tests, we cannot let it in the country. It's actually very simple to understand.
How can it be a medical device if it does not cure anything? Is a regular cigarette a medical device?
No, a cigarette is not a medical device. However, under the FDA regulations, we have found that the electronic cigarette affects the human body and is designed to treat disease. This falls under our jurisdiction.
What disease is the electronic cigarette trying to treat?
It is an attempt to treat nicotine addiction.
So the only cure to the disease of nicotine addiction is nicotine. On my electronic cigarette package, it specifically states this is not meant to treat any sort of disease.
You should really be using FDA-approved patches, gums, and drugs like Chantix to stop your nicotine addiction.
Isn't it true that people that are taking Chantix have been committing suicide? In addition, I saw in a recent study less than 1% of people who used the patch quit smoking over 1 year. Are these really my only options?
Yes, these are the best options for you to pursue.
Did you know that the electronic cigarette by some early studies has a higher than 60% quit rate? I don't really care about my nicotine addiction because the tobacco in cigarettes is what is going to kill me. By your logic, I assume the FDA also seizes imported gym equipment.
Of course we don't seize gym equipment. That does not fall under the FDA regulations.
How does gym equipment not affect the structure of the human body by your own definition? If I use the gym equipment to lose fat and gain muscle mass?
It's just different. We get to decide what falls under the FDA regulations and what doesn't. That is how it works. You are not getting your electronic cigarette back from us. You will need to find an attorney to help you if you want it back.
Do you really think it's a good use of my time and resources to hire an attorney for a $50 electronic cigarette, in addition to the taxes I already pay for your agency to keep stealing my stuff?
That is your decision to make if you want it back from us. Of course you always have real options when you disagree with the FDA. We are just trying to protect you and the kids, of course.
If I win my case, will you reimburse me for my legal costs in making the mistake of confiscating my stuff incorrectly under the law?
Of course not. We are the government. There's no downside for us to overstep our own rules. If we lose this case, we will just find another case to take on with your tax money, like natural vitamins that claim to help with various ailments. By doing this stuff, we can get a bigger budget the following year.
Let's cut through the BS. I think I have a good theory of why you confiscated my electronic cigarette.
I told you already, we did it to protect you from these harmful devices. And also for the kids, of course.
How many members are on the FDA Tobacco Advisory Council?
12. Why does it matter?
Of those 12 members, how many have worked for or received money from pharmaceutical or tobacco companies in the past?
Well, it looks like about 9 out of the 12 have some financial connection to either big pharma or tobacco.
So basically you confiscated my electronic cigarette to save the profits of these two industries.
Well, when you put it that way it sounds bad, but we are the government and we are just looking out for your safety. And of course for the kids' safety.
Over 1 million people have tried the electronic cigarette. Is there any evidence that any of these people have been hurt by this product?
No, but it still needs more scientific testing to be approved for use.
Thank you for your time today. This was not very productive. I will try and order more electronic cigarettes so I don't have to keep smoking FDA-approved cigarettes that give me cancer. I understand you will keep trying to confiscate them to protect the profits of these larger companies. I also understand that you need to protect the revenue streams of the local and state governments that have promised pension benefits to their state employees that they cannot afford, and are now trying to balance their budgets by taxing smokers a lot more. At this point, I am fairly certain the government makes a lot more money off cigarettes than the tobacco companies even do.
We will confiscate your electronic cigarettes to protect you from these dangerous devices. You should use FDA-approved gums, patches, drugs, or regular cigarettes. Think of the kids.
I wish I could have the last 7 minutes of my life back. Goodbye.